Holly Crosby, and we came to New England Grassroots because my son Aaron had a brain cancer, grade 4 glioblastoma, and we'd had surgery, chemo, and radiation, and the tumor was growing back. So we were looking for alternative treatments, and we heard about cannabis and got introduced to Mike Fitzgerald at New England Grassroots, and he helped us start on the Cannabis Oil, and
Did you see improvements when you started to use the cannabis oil? Were you noticing improvements?
Well, yeah, after 6 weeks, we had an MRI and the tumor had shrunk 50%. And then it's continued to shrink and now we just see like residual on the MRIs, possibly scar tissue. And that was September 2015.
And prior to cannabis, what was the prognosis? What did the doctors say about Aaron? Yeah, prior to using cannabis or discovering it.
They said that he would die.
How much time did they give him?
About 2 years.
About 2 years. And how long has it been now that Aaron is at his age now? How long is it since that?
It's been
3 years.
And he's not on any drugs, no seizure medications.
How many medications was he on prior?
Well, after the surgery, of course, he was on quite a few, but he was also on 3,000 milligrams of Keppra a day and 250 Vimpat and 3,000 a day Keppra. That was just to stop seizures. But since he started the cannabis, we've been able to go off all the seizure drugs.
So no more pharmaceuticals
No.
while you're using a natural
Yep.
plant cannabis. Question about the when he was taking the pharmaceutical products, were there any side effects?
Oh, yeah. Well, total brain fog all the time. It was very swollen, a lot of inflammation, just all the typical symptoms of mass amounts of prednisone and painkillers, seizure drugs.
It was ongoing. And how often did you have to go to see the doctors? Is it a couple times a week or once a week? How did it interfere with your personal, obviously your life too, and the rest of the family?
After the surgery, we were there quite a bit. We even lived at the hospital for 6 weeks for the radiation. But it's an every 2 months visit. We still go every 2 months for MRIs and neurological checkups.
And what is the current prognosis? And actually, more importantly, at some point, I'm sure you disclosed to your primary that you're using cannabis. And what was their response?
Well, they say it doesn't help, but obviously it's wrong.
So the doctors, their advice to you is it doesn't help.
Yeah, there's no point in doing it. That was what they had told us. And they keep it in their notes, but they don't really want to talk about it.
Okay. And so they won't talk about it, but they'll take notes, and they don't have a base knowledge about it.
No.
But do they think that it was all synthetics, their pharmaceutical treatment that is putting him on a path of being cured?
I didn't get that impression because they don't really have a cure. Because Aaron had surgery, chemo, radiation, and the tumor was growing back. So it's nothing they did that stopped it.
So I think I would say to them,
the other direction.
I would say to them, oh yeah, don't do that. That doesn't work, right?
Yeah.
Obviously it didn't work. It made it worse. It made it harder. And so how long has it been since Aaron started to use cannabis as his source of medication?
2 years.
So 24 months. And in that you've seen quite a change.
Oh, yeah. Well, he lost 60 pounds. You know, all the inflammation.
Inflammation weight?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he must have been bloated.
Oh, it was awful.
The face starts to get bulged and stuff like that.
We have some before and after pictures from him or something.
Yeah. And Aaron, so obviously at a certain age you were going through this struggle. How did it make you feel?
Overwhelmed, horrified. It's horrible.
Yeah.
Nobody wants this.
No. And you couldn't do the normal things. You couldn't hang out with your friends, couldn't be in school, things like that. You'd be home in bed most of the time, in pain. And then again, in the fog after the treatments. And so when your first experience, for someone that might be looking at this as a way to supplement and help their own situation, I mean, if I'd never tried cannabis before, and obviously like any other drug, it's a little bit nerve-wracking. Were you nervous trying cannabis for the first time?
Very nervous. I wasn't sure how it was going to work or if this was going to affect me or anything.
Yeah.
Happy I've had the reactions.
And so, how many times did you have to use it to start to feel a little bit more relaxed, a little less fearful of taking the medicine, cannabis? Just a couple months. So you must have been on high doses starting out because you were a very short window of opportunity to try to attack it with the cannabis oil. So you had to take higher doses, which normally most people come in small dosing, microdosing, and work their way up. I assume, if I know Mike, he wanted to put you down as quickly as he could. And that means make you heavy and make you sleepy.
We started at like the half a grain of rice, but we got up to like we got up to a gram in 3 weeks.
In 3 weeks. That's aggressive.
Yeah, it was really.
So within the first month, you got them up to a gram,
Yeah.
which is strong.
Yep.
And for most people, that's going to knock them down and then want them to go to sleep, maybe have something to eat,
Yep.
and then go to sleep.
Yep.
And then sleep for like 10, 12 hours.
Right.
Okay. And that is kind of the key, is to get the body to shut down so that it can repair itself. And so what I understand is the cannabis oil assists in that process of your body healing itself. Does that make sense? And how do you feel today, Aaron? And so in a short period of time, in just 2 years, 24 months, which is not a long time in the grand scheme of things, right? Now your knowledge base about cannabis must be pretty extensive, because now you rely on it to be in health. Have you learned to grow it?
A bit, yep.
Yeah. Getting familiar with that area.
So we're learning how to create our own cures.
Yes, be self-sufficient.
Self-sufficient, not reliant on anyone else. Isn't that funny? When you have to deal with the medical industry, you have to learn their language pretty quickly. Because otherwise they'll talk in a language you can't understand. You rely on them to tell you the truth or the fiction. And sometimes they don't have all the facts either. Does that make sense? So today you're feeling fantastic, and I assume at this point you're now sharing this information with others?
Yeah, as much as we can, whoever's interested.
Yeah. And you're probably finding that some people still have that old paradigm stuck in the old programming, that little egg in the pan that fries your brain because this is what it looks like when you're on cannabis. Right? I think, a lot of us grew up in that era. But now that we look, we go, wait a minute, something was misleading. Because the evidence shows that you've saved your son. That's priceless. And that's by taking an action because you're at your wit's end and you didn't have a lot of choice. And you're willing to try anything, like most of us would. There was no choice. But this was, now you look back in hindsight and you say it was the best choice I could ever make. That make sense? Well, great. Hey, we appreciate you guys coming out and sharing with us here at New England Grassroots Institute. You can follow us on Facebook. You can also look us up online. It's grassroot420.com. Check us out. Thanks, guys.